Good day everyone and welcome back to Jax Cosplay. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Jax and I do cosplay. And on this channel we do all sorts of cosplay tutorials and reviews and take a look at all sorts of stuff in geek culture. So I'd like to just take a moment to ask you if you could consider hitting that subscribe button to the channel. It really does help out the channel and it doesn't cost a thing. Now, as some of you may know, I absolutely love swords. I'm a huge geek when it comes to swords. I love all sorts of swords, from fantasy movies to books to all sorts of stuff. If it's a sword, I probably love it. And over the years, I have built quite a few swords. I've built swords out of foam, out of cardboard, out of wood, out of steel. So I've built quite a few swords. But what I haven't done is I haven't done a tutorial on how to make a sword, which is exactly what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be showing you how to make a basic cosplay prop sword out of some EVA foam. And you can use this tutorial you can change this tutorial up a bit to make whichever kind of sword you want for your cosplay. Let's get right on into making a basic foam sword. Okay, so to get started with the sword, I have just gone and I threw together a real quick template of just a basic sword that I'm going to be using for this build. Now you can use a picture of the sword. If you're trying to make a specific sword, you can use a picture of that, or you can go and find some other templates on the internet. And this template, you will be able to download it. There'll be a link in the description, so just head on there, click that link, and you'll be able to get this template. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to take my little craft blade and I'm just going to cut out this template of the sword. Now, as you can see, I think when I was drawing it up on my computer, I maybe got some of the measurements wrong. So obviously the pommel here is way too big. So I will be making a few adjustments to the size on the fly as I go, just as I make it and I see some things aren't going to work out. So like the pommel, I can already see that's way too big, so I'll make that a bit smaller while I'm doing it. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and cut this out right now. Okay, so I've got the template cut out and I've got it pinned to a piece of 10mm EVA foam. So you'll notice here that the pommel isn't going to fit on the foam, but that's because I'm going to be doing a different method for making the pommel of the sword. So what you just want to do is you're going to take a pen, you're going to trace it out, and then you're just going to use a blade to cut out the whole piece of foam. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have got our piece of foam cut out in the shape of the sword, but as you can see, it's all floppy, which isn't how a sword should be. So what I've got is I've got some 20mm PVC pipe and some 10mm dowel stick. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some hot glue to glue the dowel stick in here. And what we'll then be able to do is we'll be able to use this as a core for the sword in order to give it some strength and stability. Okay, so the dowel stick is glued into the PVC pipe, and what we've also done is we've put it on here and we have more or less just with a pen marked out where we want this piece to go inside the foam. So now that we've got that marked out, we're just going to take a knife and we are going to cut out that section of the foam so that we will be able to glue this piece inside the foam like that. Okay, so we have got our core and we have got that section of the foam cut out. So what we're just going to do now is we're going to take some contact cement and we are going to glue this core piece in here, and this will give the piece the strength we need. Then once this is glued in, we'll just take some a 5mm EVA foam and skin it on both sides, and from there we'll be able to start actually adding the details and shaping the sword to the bevels and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so there we go. We have got the base of the sword done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some more foam and we are going to build up the crossguard here and also make a pommel for the sword. Once we have got that done, we'll be able to take a Dremel tool with a sanding bit and we'll be able to start refining the shape and cleaning it up. And as you can see here, the sword is no longer floppy thanks to the core that we put in it. So yeah, so let's go ahead and start adding these detail pieces and then start refining this blade. Okay, so we have got the base of the sword done. We have got some 8mm foam glued on either side of the crossguard. So now what we want to do, before we can actually start using a Dremel tool to put on the bevel of the blade, what I'm first going to do is I'm going to take a craft knife and I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle on each of these edges here, just so that it's less material that we have to remove with the Dremel. Then once that's done, we'll be able to go and clean up the pommel with the Dremel, glue that on, and clean up all the other edges with the Dremel. So let's go ahead and get into that right now. Okay, so we have got the majority of the sword done. We've got the edges of the handle round over and the grip and the crossguard, and we've got the pommel glued on, which is just a few pieces of EVA foam stuck together, cut and Dremel to the right shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the heat gun and I'm going to heat all the foam with the heat gun, just because the Dremeling, it creates these little fuzzy bits. So I'm just going to try and get rid of some of those and I'll see how it looks after that. So let's go ahead and hit it with the heat gun. Okay, so we have got the edges of the sword sanded down with the Dremel. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take some cold wood glue, mix it with some water, and we're going to prime the sword. And then once that's done, we'll take a bit of sandpaper, sand it down again, and probably do this process with the glue and the sanding about 3 times, just to try and really get it nice and primed and smooth. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that we've got that sanded, we're just going to go ahead and paint this with some black craft paint to give it a base coat. Okay, so with the blade all painted black, what we're going to do now is we're going to start painting the colors on the blade. So you'll notice that I haven't primed or painted the handle of the sword, and that's because that will get wrapped with a fake leather later. But what we're going to do is we're just going to be using some metallic craft paint, some gold and some silver, and we'll be painting the blade silver and the crossguard and the pommel gold. So let's get right on into doing that. Okay, so now that we've got the sword blade, the crossguard and the pommel all painted up, what I've got here is I have got some brown faux leather vinyl. And what we're just going to do is we're going to cut a strip of this, which we will then be able to wrap around the handle and glue down. Then when all of that's done, we will give this a wash with a little bit of a black paint and water mixture to weather it down a bit, and then we will be done. So let's go ahead and cut a strip of the faux leather vinyl to use on the sword. Okay, and the last thing left to do is to just weather the sword and the blade a bit. So what I've done is I've taken some black acrylic paint, mixed it up with a bit of water, and we're just going to brush this on over the entire sword and then wipe most of it off with a paper towel. And this will just give it a bit of a weathered and aged look and make it look not so bright and shiny and clean, but like it's seen a bit of battle. And there we have it. That is how to make a super cool, basic EVA foam prop cosplay sword. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and I hope that you learned something from it. I am super happy with how this sword turned out, and I hope that if you guys try making a sword from this video, you will also be super happy with your results. If you enjoyed this video or you learned anything, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It really does help out the channel and allows me to make more videos for you guys. If there are any cosplays or props out there that you would like to see me build or do a tutorial on, let me know down below in the comments section and I will see what I can do. If you build this sword or anything based on what I've taught you in my videos, please do send me a picture of what you've built over on my Instagram, which is @jax.cosplay. Until next time, this has been Jax Cosplay.